man. He was, I don't know what.
Excuse me, are you the owner of this place?
Owners don't carry brooms.
I guess he was in the 60s.
Did you know that Willaim Frawley and one of his beloved on-screen wives could not stand each other? From constant bickering on set to almost getting kicked off set, it therefore came as a surprise when this person showed up unexpectedly to his funeral. Who's this person, and what even started the feud to begin with? Well, stay tuned to find out. Willaim Frawley's early life. William Clement Frawley was born on February 26, 1887, in Burlington, Iowa. He was the second of 4 children in the Frawley family. His parents, Michael A. Frawley and Mary E. Brady, were of Irish descent, which influenced the cultural environment of his upbringing. Michael was a cigar maker, a trade that provided a modest living for the family, while Mary took on the responsibilities of a homemaker, ensuring that the household ran smoothly. From a young age, William showed signs of being a natural performer. He often entertained his family and friends, participating in amateur shows and local theater productions. Despite the challenges of growing up in the late 19th century, including limited economic opportunities and societal expectations, young William found joy and expression in performing. His antics, coupled with his sharp wit and charismatic personality, made him a standout even in his early years. Willaim Frawley's education began at local Catholic schools in Burlington. While he was known for his mischievous behavior, which often landed him in trouble, these early educational experiences also provided him with a foundational understanding of discipline and responsibility. He had a love-hate relationship with his studies, excelling in subjects that interested him while notoriously struggling in others. During his school years, young William developed a keen interest in the performing arts. Whether it was reciting funny monologues, singing in choirs, or participating in school plays, these early experiences nurtured his growing passion for entertainment. His extracurricular activities often revolved around the arts, although he dabbled in other areas as well. Despite his antics, he managed to make a mark with his engaging performances, earning the attention and sometimes the frustration of his teachers. His parents, hoping he would pursue a more stable and conventional career path, wanted him to follow in his father's footsteps or consider other practical professions. However, William's heart was always set on the stage. Career before showbiz. Before fully committing to a career in acting, Willaim Frawley explored various jobs and introduced himself to the working world. One of his earliest jobs was as a stenographer for the Union Pacific Railroad. This job, though far from glamorous, allowed him to work on his patience and attention to detail, skills that would later prove invaluable in his acting endeavors. However, William's heart was always set on the stage, and he made efforts to be involved in acting whenever possible. His break came when he decided to move to Chicago, where he secured a job as a court reporter. During his time in Chicago, he continued to involve himself in amateur theater. Moved to Chicago, a day job with a dream, early 1910s. As Frawley's ambition grew, so did his desire to explore larger theatrical circles. Around the early 1910s, he made the significant decision to move to Chicago in search of greater opportunities. Chicago, a bustling city with a thriving cultural scene, offered a gateway to the professional world of theater. However, success didn't come immediately. To support himself, Frawley worked as a court reporter during the day, while performing in amateur theater productions at night. His day job provided him with financial stability, but his true passion remained on stage. This period in Chicago was marked by perseverance and determination, as Frawley honed his acting skills and gained valuable experience in front of live audiences. Frawley's time in Chicago also allowed him to forge connections with fellow actors, directors, and producers, which would later prove beneficial in his transition to the vaudeville circuit. Navigating New York's theatrical halls. In the early 1910s, with his little savings and dream, William moved to New York City, the epicenter of theater and entertainment in America. Once there, he began his ascent in the vaudeville circuit, a popular form of stage entertainment at the time. Teaming up with his brother, Paul Frawley, he formed the musical comedy duo known as Frawley and Louise, which enjoyed moderate success. The pair quickly became a hit on the vaudeville circuit, performing comedic skits and musical numbers that delighted audiences. Their performances were characterized by Frawley's impeccable comedic timing and ability to engage the crowd. Vaudeville was an ideal platform for Frawley's natural charisma and stage presence. His years in this fast-paced and varied environment helped him refine his sense of humor and ability to improvise. It was during these vaudeville performances that Frawley's distinctive comedic style began to emerge, a mix of dry wit and exaggerated physicality that would later become his signature in Hollywood. The vaudeville circuit at that time was highly competitive, featuring a variety of acts from singers and dancers to comedians and magicians. Frawley's ability to thrive in this environment showcased his adaptability and talent. It wasn't just about performing, he had to constantly innovate to keep the audience engaged, skills that would serve him well throughout his career. The early 20th century was a golden age for Broadway and an era marked by a rise in popularity of film and radio. For Willaim, this meant grappling with fierce competition, but also unparalleled opportunities. His charming, everyman persona and his keen ear for comedy began to win over audiences and peers alike. His perseverance on the vaudeville circuit, often seen as the training ground for many Hollywood stars, taught him the importance of timing, audience interaction, and adaptability. Not only did he perform, but he engaged in the logistical side of managing performances, crew, and finances, an invaluable education in the business side of entertainment. In addition to his vaudeville work, Frawley's dramatic ambitions led him to participate in early stage productions in New York. These roles, whether leading or supporting, served as further tests of his versatility and endurance as a performer. Early critics noted his robust voice, impeccable timing, and ability to imbue even the most minor characters with a captivating presence. His success in the theatrical world eventually led to opportunities in film. The transition from stage to screen was a natural progression for an actor of his caliber, and by the time Hollywood came calling, Frawley was more than prepared. His vast range of experiences, from working menial jobs to starring in vaudeville and stage productions, had endowed him with a resilience and flexibility that would serve him well in the fast-paced world of Hollywood. Broadway success, establishing himself as a stage actor, 1920s. By the 1920s, Frawley had gained enough experience and recognition in vaudeville to transition into more serious stage work. He began taking on roles in Broadway productions, a step up from the variety-driven world of vaudeville. The Broadway stage allowed Frawley to further develop his range as an actor, moving from comedic skits to more nuanced character roles. One of Frawley's notable Broadway performances came in the play Here Comes the Band in 1928. His role in this production allowed him to demonstrate his versatility as an actor, blending comedy with more sophisticated character work. The success of this play marked a significant turning point in his career, establishing him as a respected figure within the New York theater community. Frawley's stage work during the 1920s continued to build his reputation as a reliable and talented actor, capable of handling both leading and supporting roles. His time on Broadway was an important chapter in his career, setting the foundation for his eventual transition to radio and film. Radio, Frawley's voice, reaches new audiences, late 1920s, early 1930s. As radio became an increasingly popular medium in the late 1920s and early 1930s, Frawley saw an opportunity to expand his reach. Radio offered a new way for performers to connect with audiences, and Frawley's rich voice and comedic talents made him a perfect fit for this growing platform. Frawley landed roles on several radio programs, where he played a variety of characters. One of his most notable roles was on NBC Radio's Joe Palooka, a popular radio series that showcased Frawley's ability to adapt to different comedic situations. His work in radio was well received and helped him gain national recognition. Radio allowed Frawley to explore new aspects of his craft. Without the benefit of physical gestures and facial expressions, he relied heavily on his vocal performance to convey humor, emotion, and character development. His success in radio further solidified his status as a versatile entertainer capable of captivating audiences in multiple mediums. Transition to film, the challenge of a new medium, 1930s. In the early 1930s, Frawley made the leap from stage and radio to film, a transition that many performers found challenging. His film debut came with The Lemon Drop Kid in 1934, marking the beginning of a long and successful career in Hollywood. Adapting to the new medium was not without its challenges. Film acting required a more subdued and naturalistic performance style compared to the exaggerated gestures of stage acting. Additionally, Frawley had to navigate the technical aspects of filmmaking, such as working with cameras, lights, and sound recording equipment. Despite these obstacles, Frawley quickly found his footing in Hollywood. His years of experience in vaudeville and theater gave him the adaptability he needed to thrive in the film industry. His early films, including Moonlight and Pretzels, 1933, and Mississippi, 1935, allowed him to showcase his talents in musical comedies and cement his status as a reliable character actor. Overcoming typecasting, finding his niche in Hollywood. In the early years of his film career, Frawley was often typecast in comedic and character roles. Hollywood saw him as a dependable supporting actor who could add humor and charm to any film. While some actors might have chafed at being typecast, Frawley embraced it. He brought a unique blend of humor and relatability to his roles, which made him a favorite among directors and audiences alike. His willingness to lean into these roles rather than resist them allowed him to carve out a successful niche in Hollywood. Whether playing a grumpy sidekick or a lovable everyman, Frawley made each role his own, leaving a lasting impression on audiences. A vaudevillian marriage, Frawley and Edna Louise. Willaim Frawley's career was thriving when, in 1914, he married Edna Louise, a fellow vaudevillian. The couple not only shared their personal lives, but also collaborated professionally, forming the act Frawley and Louise. Their performances, which included singing, dancing, and comedy, were met with favorable reviews, and audiences enjoyed their light-hearted approach to entertainment. Despite the success of their act, however, their marriage was far less harmonious. Frawley's relentless ambition to evolve as an entertainer sometimes caused friction in his personal life, which mirrored the shifting dynamics within his career. Broadening horizons, silent films, and a return to the stage. Frawley's desire to explore different facets of show business led him to dabble in silent films around 1916. He appeared in 5 films during this period, testing the waters of a medium that was rapidly gaining popularity. However, after these brief stints in cinema, Frawley felt that the stage was still where his talent shined brightest. His decision to return to theater at this juncture would later prove crucial, as the stage provided him with the experience and versatility that would serve him well in the next chapters of his career. Separation and personal struggles. In 1921, Frawley's marriage to Edna Louise came to an end. Though the details of their split remain somewhat vague, it's widely believed that his temper and struggles with alcohol may have contributed to the dissolution of their marriage. Frawley was notorious for his fiery temper and drinking problem, both of which often got in the way of his personal and professional relationships. Despite the turbulence in his personal life, Frawley remained focused on his career. His separation from Edna didn't put a halt to his ambitions. Instead, it led him to join forces with his younger brother Paul, who had already made a name for himself on Broadway. Broadway success and challenges. By the mid-1920s, Frawley had established himself on the Broadway scene. His first notable performance came in Mary Mary in 1925. While he was gaining recognition as a talented actor, his offstage behavior often overshadowed his achievements. Known for being difficult to work with, Frawley had a reputation for being combative, especially when under the influence of alcohol. His mood swings and drinking habits frequently put him at odds with fellow actors and producers, yet his undeniable talent allowed him to continue landing roles. One particularly infamous incident occurred during the 1928 Broadway show That's My Baby, when Frawley lost his temper and punched fellow actor Clifton Webb in the nose. The outburst resulted in Frawley being fired from the production. Despite the setback, his career was far from over. His talent and perseverance ensured he bounced back quickly, landing more roles and continuing to perform. Frawley's versatility as an actor became evident when he took on his first serious dramatic role in 1932. He appeared in the original Broadway production of 20th Century by Ben Hecht and Charles MacArthur, playing the character Owen O'Malley, a press agent. The role marked a significant departure from his usual comedic performances, demonstrating Frawley's ability to take on more serious and complex characters. His work on the 20th Century solidified his reputation as a capable and multifaceted actor, allowing him to grow both artistically and professionally. Transition to film, a new chapter in Hollywood. Frawley continued working on Broadway until 1933, when he decided to make the leap into the burgeoning film industry. His initial foray into cinema came with small roles in short comedy films, which provided him with a new platform to showcase his talents. That same year, Frawley gained wider recognition with his performance in the musical Moonlight and Pretzels, produced by Universal Studios. The film's success inspired him to move to Los Angeles, where Hollywood offered him more opportunities to expand his career. Upon arriving in Los Angeles, Frawley signed a 7-year contract with Paramount Pictures, officially solidifying his presence in the film industry. His comedic talents continued to shine, especially in the musical comedy Strike Me Pink, where he played a wisecracking sidekick. The role highlighted not only his impeccable comedic timing, but also his singing ability, which he had honed during his vaudeville days. The film helped elevate Frawley's status as a rising star in Hollywood. Challenges in Hollywood, minor roles, and perseverance. Despite his early successes in film, Frawley struggled to maintain consistent work in Hollywood. He found himself frequently relegated to smaller, supporting roles that didn't fully utilize his range as an actor. While this period may have been frustrating, it gave him an opportunity to continue refining his craft and experimenting with different genres. He remained determined, using every role, no matter how minor, as a chance to improve his skills. His perseverance paid off with memorable performances in films such as Double or Nothing in 1937 and Blossoms in the Dust in 1941. These roles allowed Frawley to prove his adaptability and commitment to his work. Although the Hollywood system could be unforgiving at times, Frawley's hard work ensured that he continued to remain relevant in a competitive industry. Facing ageism, a battle against time. By the time William Clement Frawley reached his mid-60s, he faced a harsh reality prevalent in Hollywood: ageism. Despite a long and storied career, many saw him as too old for the leading roles that once filled his schedule. At 65, he was labeled as being past his prime, with critics and industry insiders alike considering him too heavy and too old for substantial roles. However, Frawley wasn't one to give up easily. Instead of retreating, he continued to seek out any opportunity that might allow him to stay in the entertainment world, driven by his passion for acting and his refusal to fade into obscurity. This persistence would eventually lead him to the role that would cement his place in television history, even as others believed his career was all but over. Frawley heard through the grapevine that Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball were casting for a new television show, I Love Lucy, under their production company, Desilu Productions. Though it was a risky venture, he saw an opening and refused to let age be the defining factor in his career's conclusion. The role of Fred Mertz, Frawley's golden opportunity. The show I Love Lucy was set to become a pioneering television sitcom, and Frawley immediately set his sights on the role of Fred Mertz, the miserly, sarcastic landlord who lived alongside Lucy and Ricky Ricardo. It was a role Frawley connected with on a personal level, Gruff and direct, Fred Mertz was a character he believed he could portray with authenticity. But landing the role wasn't going to be easy. Despite his past successes, Frawley's reputation for being difficult to work with and his well-known drinking problem worried CBS executives and even the show's creators, Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball. Frawley was determined. After his audition, rather than wait passively for a callback, he made a bold move by personally calling Lucille Ball to ask if he got the part. This audacious gesture impressed Ball. Though she didn't know him well, she saw his hunger and dedication to the role, which left her with plenty to consider. Eventually, she and Arnaz concluded that Frawley was indeed a perfect fit for Fred Mertz. His real-life temperament mirrored the character's curmudgeonly nature, and they took a chance on the veteran actor, despite concerns about his behavior. A strict contract, navigating Frawley's demons. Although Arnaz and Ball were willing to hire Frawley, CBS executives remained wary, primarily due to his notorious drinking habits. Arnaz took it upon himself to strike a deal with Frawley. He could have the role, but under strict conditions. Frawley was placed on a 3 strikes rule. If he ever showed up late, caused disruptions, or was drunk on set, he would be given 2 warnings. After the 3rd strike, he would be fired without hesitation. Arnaz laid it out clearly. If Frawley wanted to continue working, he would have to be on his best behavior. As part of the agreement, Frawley managed to include a special clause in his contract, allowing him to take time off during the World Series if the New York Yankees were playing, as he was an avid fan. Remarkably, despite his combative nature and love for alcohol, Frawley adhered to the rules. He knew that losing this role could very well mean the end of his career, so he remained committed to the show, rarely missing a day and ensuring his drinking never affected his performance. On set, he memorized his lines diligently, often reading through the script with the cast before filming. The veteran actor's discipline and expertise soon earned him the respect of his peers, particularly Arnaz, with whom he worked closely to shape the comedic tone of I Love Lucy. Tension behind the scenes. Feuding with Vivian Vance. While Frawley's relationship with Lucille Ball grew into a close friendship, things were far less pleasant between him and his on-screen wife, Vivian Vance, who played Ethel Mertz. From the outset, Vance resented the fact that she was cast as the wife of a man more than 2 decades her senior. Frawley, at 64, was 22 years older than Vance, and she wasn't shy about voicing her displeasure. One day, Frawley overheard her griping about the age gap, which infuriated him. From that moment on, their relationship was strained, with Frawley holding a grudge that never quite faded. The tension between the 2 actors became a significant part of the dynamic on set. Their behind-the-scenes animosity spilled into their characters' interactions, adding a layer of realism to the bickering and banter between Fred and Ethel Mertz. In many ways, the feud only enhanced their performances, giving their on-screen marriage a sharp edge that resonated with audiences. Though they may have despised each other off-camera, Frawley and Vance were consummate professionals, always delivering top-tier performances that contributed to the success of I Love Lucy. The success of I Love Lucy. When I Love Lucy debuted on October 15, 1951, it became an instant hit. Frawley's portrayal of Fred Mertz earned him widespread acclaim for his impeccable comedic timing and relatable, grumpy persona. His character's constant grumbling and penny-pinching antics provided the perfect counterbalance to the wild schemes of Lucy Ricardo. Audiences loved Fred and Ethel Mertz as much as they adored Lucy and Ricky, and the chemistry between the 2 couples became one of the cornerstones of the show's success. Despite his earlier reputation as a difficult actor, Frawley showed a new level of professionalism on the set of I Love Lucy. He respected the structure of television production, which required tight scheduling and rehearsals, and his reliability became one of his most unexpected assets. His comedic chops, honed over decades of stage and film work, shone through as he became a fan favorite. The success of I Love Lucy extended beyond the show itself. Frawley's performance as Fred Mertz garnered him 5 Emmy nominations for Best Supporting Actor, making him one of the most recognized and beloved figures on American television at the time. His character became iconic, representing the quintessential cranky neighbor who, despite his gruff exterior, had a heart of gold. Frawley's role as Fred Mertz not only revitalized his career, but also introduced him to a new generation of fans who hadn't seen his earlier work. He became a household name, beloved by millions of viewers who tuned in each week to watch his dynamic interactions with the rest of the I Love Lucy cast. His contributions to the show were formally recognized when, on February 8, 1960, he was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at 6322 Hollywood Boulevard, honoring his contributions to the entertainment industry. Navigating career challenges. Aging with grace. Although I Love Lucy had breathed new life into Frawley's career, his struggles with ageism and typecasting never fully went away. As the years progressed, he continued to face challenges, finding substantial roles beyond Fred Mertz. However, the success he achieved in television allowed him to sustain a presence in Hollywood, even as the film industry became less forgiving to older actors. In the end, Frawley's perseverance paid off. He defied the odds and proved that even in a youth-obsessed industry, experience and talent could shine through. His time on I Love Lucy marked a turning point in his career, and despite his many challenges, he emerged victorious, leaving an indelible mark on the television landscape. A new role, a different set, My 3 Sons. Following the immense success of I Love Lucy, Willaim Frawley transitioned to another beloved sitcom, My 3 Sons. Cast alongside Fred MacMurray, he portrayed Michael Francis Bub O'Casey, the live-in grandfather and housekeeper, bringing his charm to the role. However, the experience of working on My 3 Sons was starkly different from his time on I Love Lucy. Frawley had grown comfortable with the close-knit, family-like atmosphere of I Love Lucy, where he felt like an integral part of the show's heart. In contrast, My 3 Sons utilized a unique filming schedule. The show's star, Fred MacMurray, filmed all his scenes within 65 working days each year. Once MacMurray completed his portion, the rest of the cast, including Frawley, had to film the remainder of the scenes without him. This out-of-sequence style took away the collaborative, familial dynamic that Frawley had cherished on I Love Lucy. Though he faced some tensions on both sets, the camaraderie he had felt while working alongside Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz was irreplaceable. Despite the challenges, Frawley dedicated himself to his role on My 3 Sons. His professionalism shone through as he brought warmth and humor to the character of Bub. Though it didn't offer the same emotional comfort as I Love Lucy, Frawley's commitment to his work remained steadfast, and he continued to perform at the top of his game even as he advanced in years. Failing health and final days. In his later years, Willaim Frawley's health began to decline. His dedication to acting couldn't mask the toll that age and years of heavy drinking had taken on him. His role on My 3 Sons had to be reduced, and in 1965, he was replaced by William Demarest as the live-in grandfather on the show, marking the end of his active television career. While Frawley was saddened by the departure, he was realistic about his limitations. Still, stepping back from the role marked the beginning of his final chapter. Frawley didn't let his health stop him from staying involved in Hollywood, remaining a well-known figure around town. He could often be spotted on Hollywood Boulevard, walking through the streets he had come to know so well during his career. These walks gave him time to reflect on his life's journey, both the triumphs and the challenges. The sudden end. Frawley's passing. On March 3, 1966, Willaim Frawley died suddenly of a heart attack while walking along Hollywood Boulevard, just 5 days after his 79th birthday. He collapsed near the Knickerbocker Hotel, a landmark in Hollywood where many stars of his era had stayed. The news of his death sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and beyond. His passing marked the end of an era as one of television's most beloved character actors, left behind a legacy filled with laughter, wit, and unshakable commitment to his craft. Fans mourned his loss, and his colleagues, particularly those from I Love Lucy, were devastated. Lucille Ball, who had formed a close bond with Frawley during their years working together, expressed her sorrow, stating, "I've lost one of my dearest friends, and show business has lost one of the greatest character actors of all time. Those of us who knew him loved him, and we will miss him." A tribute from friends and colleagues. Daisy Arnaz, Frawley's friend and I, Love Lucy co-star, paid a heartfelt tribute to him in an unforgettable way. Arnaz took out a full-page advertisement in the trade papers, which simply read, "Buenas noches, amigo," bidding his friend a final farewell. Arnaz's message encapsulated the deep respect and friendship he had for Frawley, despite Frawley's reputation for being difficult at times. Their professional partnership and personal bond had endured through the years, and Arnaz's tribute became a touching symbol of that enduring connection. Fred McMurray, who worked closely with Frawley on My Three Sons, also felt the loss deeply. Though My Three Sons had been a different experience from I Love Lucy, McMurray appreciated Frawley's dedication to the show and his talent as an actor. Both Arnaz and McMurray served as pallbearers at Frawley's funeral, paying their respects to the man who had shared many memorable moments on set with them. A surprising gesture. Vivian Vance at the funeral. One of the most surprising moments during Willaim Frawley's funeral came with the arrival of Vivian Vance, his I Love Lucy co-star. Their relationship had been notoriously contentious throughout the series' run. Vance had disliked the idea of playing the wife of a man 22 years older than her, and Frawley had never forgiven her for her complaints, leading to a feud that persisted for years. The tension between them was well known both on set and off, with neither making an effort to reconcile during Frawley's lifetime. Yet, despite their differences, Vance attended Frawley's funeral, shocking those present. Her attendance was seen as an unexpected gesture of respect and closure. In a way, her presence at the service signaled that, despite their personal animosity, Vance recognized Frawley's significance in her life and career. The complexity of their relationship had been a major part of both of their lives, and Vance's decision to attend the funeral was a way of letting go of old grievances and paying tribute to a man with whom she had shared years of professional success. Vance stood quietly among the mourners, her face reflecting a mix of emotions. Those who saw her at the funeral noted the sadness in her eyes. Perhaps there was regret for not having mended their relationship before Frawley's passing. Though their on-screen chemistry had made them iconic as Fred and Ethel Mertz, their off-screen relationship had been fraught with tension. Still, in that moment, all past disputes seemed to fade away, replaced by a deep, shared acknowledgement of the work they had done together. A final resting place. Willaim Frawley was laid to rest at the San Fernando Mission Cemetery in Mission Hills, Los Angeles. His funeral was attended by a small circle of family, friends, and colleagues, all there to say goodbye to a man who had brought laughter into the homes of millions. The quiet solemnity of the event was punctuated by moments of reflection as those present remembered Frawley's immense contributions to television and film. While Frawley's life had been filled with professional highs and personal challenges, his final days were marked by a sense of closure. He had found lasting success in his career despite the hardships he faced, and his passing left an indelible mark on those who had worked with him and knew him personally. Willaim Frawley's lasting legacy in film and television. Willaim Frawley's legacy in the world of film and television is undeniably significant, with a career that spanned over 5 decades. Although he became best known for his portrayal of Fred Mertz on I Love Lucy, his influence extended far beyond that iconic role. Frawley's comedic timing, natural talent for delivering sharp lines, and ability to create memorable characters solidified his place as one of Hollywood's most beloved character actors. Before television, Frawley enjoyed a robust film career, appearing in more than 100 movies, often as the gruff sidekick or the sharp-tongued but lovable everyman. Some of his most notable films include Miracle on 34th Street, 1947, where he played the political fixer Charlie Chaplin, and Going My Way, 1944, where he starred alongside Bing Crosby in an Academy Award-winning film. His performances in these and other movies demonstrated his range as an actor, effortlessly shifting between humor and heartfelt moments. However, it was on the small screen that Frawley made his most lasting mark. His portrayal of Fred Mertz on I Love Lucy remains one of television's most celebrated supporting roles. Alongside Lucille Ball, Daisy Arnaz, and Vivian Vance, Frawley helped shape the very foundation of the sitcom genre, bringing a blend of slapstick comedy, wit, and impeccable timing that resonated with audiences. The show became a global phenomenon, with Frawley's Fred Mertz becoming a household name. For his work on I Love Lucy, Frawley earned 5 Primetime Emmy nominations, cementing his status as a television legend. Even after his time on I Love Lucy, Frawley continued to impact the world of television through his role as Bub O'Casey on My Three Sons. His presence added heart to the show, which became another major success during television's golden age. Today, Frawley's influence can still be felt, as his performances in classic films and television shows continue to be celebrated by new generations of fans. His work not only defined a genre, but also set a standard for character actors in both film and television, securing his place in Hollywood history. What I Did Differently